Everyone. We're doing a live tonight to talk about the city of Satellite Beach and some recent things that are happening relative to human health in the area and the cancer clusters and exposure to PFAS. There's just been an ongoing saga. Tonight, we're going to recap the October 25 Satellite Beach City Council meeting where they discussed pursuing an appeal in a case with Stell Bailey, Jeff Dubitsky, and some other individuals. But the bottom line is this is actually part of an ongoing saga. There was a sunshine law violation. The courts determined there was a violation, but because there was no recording of what was discussed, they could not really enter any verdict there other than to dismiss it. So it's been appealed, and basically they want attorney's fees now. And it's interesting because this Mindy Gibson was on the commission back when this violation occurred, and she was one of the people that was accused of the violation, and she's the only council member that still sits on the council today. There's another council member we want you to focus on too, Jody, and I'm not really sure how to say her last name, so I won't butcher it, but Jody works for the schools, and Jody appears to have violated the Educational Records Act by accessing Jeff Dubitsky's family information. And we'll just let this play out. And then Stella and I are going to stop periodically and just discuss how we feel about the comment.
So if you heard just now, he said it will equate to the cost of a cup of coffee.
Sit down, like I tried to meet with you with coffee way back in July. I asked if you wanted to sit down and meet, right? We never talked.
Okay, this was the day after there was an issue with Sunshine Law that we went up to the podium and
it was that night.
I wasn't about to go out to coffee when we were already having issues, but an official meeting would have been nice.
But that would have been the best time to do it, a non-official meeting.
No. But basically, in essence, what he's saying is if you want us to pursue the attorney's fees, and we spend all of this time and effort chasing them down, you're going to get the equivalent of a cup of coffee. And that's basically what they want to do. They want to chase it down. So let's all just send them a cup of coffee, shall we?
Apparently, they're desperate for coffee, and they really like their coffee.
Again, we're seeing a trend in Brevard County where they lose in front of different judges, and they keep appealing, and they want to criticize you and Jeff for spending taxpayer dollars to fight this when they're the ones who chose to fight it with the taxpayer dollars, and they're still going to do that. How irresponsible.
This wouldn't be happening if they didn't take the actions on September 17th, 2018 of suddenly closing a meeting that was posted public.
We're talking about a sunshine law case here. This is much bigger than a sunshine law case. This is about PFAS. That closed door meeting was about PFAS, forever chemicals that have resulted in many residents of Satellite Beach developing cancers, aggressive cancers that have cost them or their loved ones their lives. And Jeff Dubitsky, who at that time was not suffering, had nobody in his family suffering from cancer, fought that fight. He went to the council. He tried to get these answers for the community, for himself, to understand if he could protect his children. That was his role in being there that day. And they closed the door on Jeff and on Stell, who were spearheading this project to try to work with the city and work with the county to acknowledge the existence of these contaminants in the first place and create a plan to clean it up. But what they got was they got the door shut in their face, and they were gaslit.
It's not a public workshop.
You just said it was a city meeting, so is or isn't a city? I'm just trying to understand, sir.
Not a workshop. It's a meeting held by the city. It's a closed meeting. There is not 3 public officials, not even 2 elected officials here. Okay, there's only a single.
You're waiting outside?
It was on the website this morning.
I'm aware it was on the website.
Yeah.
I'm aware they're changing the
This
rules.
is the city of Satellite Beach working with us.
This is transparency right here.
It is. It's a meeting.
It's
a city meeting. It's not an open meeting. There's
Jeff Dubitsky, I think all of our internal teams and advocates kind of knew what was going on. They knew he was leaving because he didn't feel safe anymore. And everyone knew it was not public knowledge. And what they did is they just put it on the record, and they jeopardized the safety of his children and the safety of his family all over again.
More importantly, they violated the Educational Records Act. That means that Jody, in her official position as an employee, accessed his private records to obtain that information for litigation to be used in the city of Satellite Beach.
A separate email identifies a discussion of a nonprofit organization and a plan to mount a campaign of electronic surveillance against citizens with the city's help. Other public records document the city's effort to orchestrate public comments in opposition to Fight for Zero's concerns about contamination and safe drinking water. An email was sent out by Courtney asking friends to appear to the following council meeting to speak against myself, our group, as apparently investigating cancer and contamination is silly, as identified by Mrs. Barker.
Because they're the ones that have harassed us, and we're the ones that have experienced all of these things from the city of Satellite Beach, her and particular council members. And now she's trying to turn the narrative. She's trying to steer the narrative and control the narrative and make it seem as though they're the ones that have been harassed and gaslit.
Filed, these false claims on us. And what the reason I'm telling you this is that it's all about optics. Okay. So they've spent several $100,000 of our money.
Several $100,000 of their money.
Of their money.
Of their money.
Do you see how they treat the community's money? It's their money.
It's their money.
And us for something that we knew we didn't do wrong.
You're all over video evidence and photo evidence of doing exactly what we claimed you did. And you have over a dozen witnesses who witnessed what happened that day. And you have numerous people who tried to file complaints. It's not just a me and Jeff situation. There were numerous other witnesses to what happened that day.
At a meeting that was noticed, right? At a meeting that was noticed for the purpose of discussing PFAS.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of knew we didn't do wrong, or were ignorant to the fact that we didn't do wrong and listened to their attorney. Okay. If we don't, in my opinion, at least try to get this couple $100,000 out of them, whether we get it.
I want to stop it there. If we don't try to get a couple $100,000, there's something severely wrong. Your attorney is overcharging you if that's how much you've paid so far for this lawsuit.
You're opening the gate up for A, people that want to gaslight us, B, them to sue us, C, we may win, but they know that they can do it and spend all of our money.
It is mind-blowing to me that their friends didn't sit there and say, that's probably not a good idea. That's not the right thing to do. Closing a last-minute meeting because you don't like very specific people that you think are going to come to this meeting. That's the whole reason why this meeting was closed. Mm-hmm. And in the process, they shunned out numerous other residents, and it all backfired on them because it got caught on camera. But for her to sit there and admit on public record, we have to do this because we have to set an example.
Dubitsky's been gone. I told you that, a while back. And I know that's why he left.
University of Florida, I have an organization in Florida. We did a 3-year study about the PFAS.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's the 3rd highest in the country where we lived. And that's why when we got the numbers, I packed up the family, we moved back.
We made a mistake. Yeah. But hopefully this is going to be very treatable. Okay? That's my hope. And we'll know more in a couple weeks when they're able to really look at the tissue under a microscope and do all the tests. And then we'll get a medical oncologist to come talk to you about what treatment you need. Okay. All right.
So she knows why he left. Wow, she's inserting his foot in her mouth right now. Do you know how much it takes to move? He has 5 young children. His father lived with him. His partner lived with him. Are you kidding me? They're really trying to, and these are the things that the cities do that I don't understand why voters allow this to continue. All we're doing is illuminating their behavior.
They want us to sit down and shut up. They don't want us to voice our opinion. And I encourage everybody that's on YouTube watching this, you either need to come here to a meeting or you need to watch it on YouTube. Okay? It's better if you show up here and have a voice in what's going on.
Illuminating is worse than the boots.
Yeah, it's worse than the boots.
And good riddance. And Stella Bailey still is in the area, and you know, she had all opportunity to stop this case.
I did not have all opportunity to stop this case. She talked through third parties trying to get me to throw Jeff Dubitsky under the bus and leave him with the burden of the whole entire case. She is a liar.
I know the University of Florida and Fight for Zero are currently right now doing a lot of studies, and we support all of that work.
The amount of slander, I guess I would say, or libel that's been spoken by this organization and these people regarding myself and the city has been pretty bad, and it's really, I'm relieved.
I know the University of Florida and Fight for Zero are currently right now doing a lot of studies. We support all of that work.
A liar. I just want to put this out there. I have nothing personal against these people. I am very critical to their positions as council members, as people that are supposed to be leaders in their cities. I have nothing personal against them. What I do not like is how they are unethical, they're immoral, and they do not resemble a leader that I want for our county, for our state, and for our communities.
How are you guys going to treat that PFAS that's sprinkling on the
We're working on that.
The way their behavior has played out since 2018, the way that they have taken part in certain things, like we found out the city printed a 12-page harassment packet that was sent to Dubitsky's home.
Attorney's fees is it could happen to you, it could happen to you, it could happen to you, and it could happen to you.
That's fear mongering. It could happen to you. It could happen to you. Yeah, if you break the law and you violate citizens' rights, heck yeah, it should happen to you and you and you if you violate your citizens' rights.
And the highest duty that we have as citizens is to exercise that duty to sue you when you have proven to be corrupt and not acting in the best interest of the community. And they have very much, speaking specifically of Mindy Gibson, because she's the only one left, as she so eloquently pointed out, using that position of power to destroy, harass, defame, attack, malign, that's unconscionable.
Any given time, anybody, we did not break sunshine law, and it didn't matter. We had to fight for 5 years about it. And I think people need to understand that we're, at least while I'm still on here, I'm going to stand up and not allow people to take advantage of this whole situation. So anyways, I think that we should at least try one more time. You don't know until you at least try. But I am only one vote, and that's.
Of course, she's going to push for it. It'll be interesting to see, because again, I haven't seen this far into the video, but it'll be interesting to see if anybody even questions it. And then they're like, why are we doing this? Like, you know, what's the point? What's the end goal? Like, again,
I just feel like everyone was deferring to her, and it's sort of almost like that courtesy, you know, that you extend to the seasoned veteran, if you will. It's also very much a good old boy method of, you got my back now, I'll get your back later. This involves me, not you, so let me be the judge, support me. We see this in councils all over the place.
We were given a disservice by the court system, the judicial system, because we never had our case heard. Had we have, I am so confident they'd be in trouble right now, because There's video evidence, there's photo evidence, there's public records of all of their conduct.
You make a good point, and I want to take you back to something that the city attorney said earlier, which is that you have to have findings, and since we never presented our case, I don't know how we'd win. He very subtly made that point, but that's really actually huge. You're not going to win. You may have sent your safe harbor letter out as a predicate. A predicate's not an entitlement. There's still so many other things that you have to do. And you never presented a case to be won. It was never heard. Therefore, you have no attorney's fees claim.
Over 5 years.
Yeah.
It's not
there's
like
such a joke.
It's not like there was some wrongdoing here. It was like the courts kept saying, and they kept fighting for it. And to me, it was an abuse of our tax dollars, and it's shameful. And
pause that. If you want to talk about an abuse of your tax dollars, you have just put the burden on the city of Satellite Beach residents to clean up PFAS when you had an opportunity to join a class action lawsuit specifically for the purpose of cleaning up municipal utilities. I'm so mad I cannot speak. And you chose not to participate in that and put the burden on the taxpayer. So let's talk about that for a minute. But in a roundabout, you decided to send some lobbyists up to talk to the legislature to see if you could get some immunity from liability. Oh, please, woman.
Keep preaching.
Girl.
Woo. Girl,
I'm heated. When I got to that point, I just was
hypocrisy. Oh, I want to remind you that we're not politicians. I just want to put that reminder out there because they're treating me like I'm some like, official in Brevard County. And it's funny because it's like, no, I'm just a victim who decided to do something about contamination I found and to help families that were coming to me and looking to me to use my skill set and my expertise and my knowledge to help make a difference for their community and for our county.
Bailey says that she has won the battle against cancer. Now she's fighting the war against cancer-causing chemicals in the water. And based on what's happened to her family, she thinks these chemicals have been here for a while.
And I don't blame them for this contamination. I do not blame any of them, just like Titusville. But what I do blame them for is how they addressed it.
Let's be clear. Once again, joining this PFAS litigation is not an admission of guilt. It is not an admission of negligence or responsibility. What it is an acknowledgement that there is contamination. It must be cleaned up. Somebody's got to pay for it.
And the other person didn't even live in our city. She doesn't even live on Beachside. And it's something that, it could happen at any given time. And it's all
when all these cities try to say, she doesn't even live here. They don't even live here. But my organization is a statewide organization. I work on a national level. Now I'm international. Okay. This tactic of they don't even live here. She doesn't even live here. But you know what? I always go back to Jeff Dubitsky did live there and they treated him exactly the same. They do this to Erin Brockovich all the time when she comes into town. She doesn't even live here. She's not even local. So it's like a way that they can try to be dismissive and discount anything that I'm saying. It's their desperation to discredit the work that we've done by simply saying something so stupid.
You know who is a resident there? Victim number whatever that just popped up and said, I have cancer. I live in Satellite Beach. There are so many victim so-and-so who said, I have a rare and aggressive type of cancer and I'm too young for this. How many have we seen in the last, 2 days, 3 days?
At least 20 people come forward. And one was Jeff's neighbor across the street, same exact cancer that they just got diagnosed with lymphoma. But, it's normal. Everything's fine. It's normal. All these neighbors getting the same cancer. That's just a coincidence. By the way, the contamination on the base, it doesn't know how to jump a zip code. It knows how to stay within the base. It
might be a source that's somewhere else. It may be us.
It does not know how to stay behind a fence. It does not know military boundaries. It does not know city jurisdictional lines. It does not know the difference between 1920 Jones Road and 1921 Jones Road. That's not how contamination operates.
I find it interesting because they basically essentially admitted that, they're doing this to set an example of us. That's the conclusion that I'm getting from this. I'm also getting that, now they're trying to convince the community that we're the ones that were doing the harassment.
The use of city resources to print a disturbing 11-page document that was later sent to my colleague's home of residence. Other public records document an effort to orchestrate public comments in opposition to our concerns about contamination in safe drinking water. It's actions like this that undermine public trust in government.
It's a pretty big fight for
Yeah.
the city of Satellite Beach